Good evening, everybody. I just got back from doing Freestate Comic Con in Lawrence, and Craig's shows are always great. They're a lot of fun, and man, this was a show that I really needed. That just the kick, the energy, the kind of wake up call again, and it was so freaking cool to be able to do a show like that. And just if you've never been to his shows, they're great because they're laid back. They really connect with creators and the community in a way that I don't really believe any other show around here or that I've even done before it does that well. And um, you know, I've talked about this before. I always struggle with a bit of a creative block, depression, other things like that. And this show was absolutely like just that jump start that I needed. It's great because, it goes beyond just being able to commiserate with other creators. It goes into like, well, what have you guys done? What other things have we worked on? And sure, it's great when you have social media and you can see everybody's posts and stuff like that. But it's something else when you get a chance to go and see the artist and the artwork in person. And I cannot put a fine enough point on that because the real experience, and this is something that like, although that's great that people have their Instagrams and their Facebook pages and stuff, that's immeasurably good for growing your business, for getting attention out there. But it's so crowded that there's, sometimes there's times when I wonder, like, is it all really worth it to even try and do that? It is, of course. There is a lot of good that comes from that. But there is something truly, dare I say, magical about being able to go to a show and see the stuff laid out, see people working on stuff, see people talking about the art, the worlds, the creations they're making, doing all the stuff that comes from inside of them, whether it's super high sci-fi fantasy sort of stuff to like kind of maybe more fan art driven stuff to a lot of I don't everything in between. And so for me, the show was great. I woke up kind of early, and I don't normally get to see the sun like that. I'm up super early to get to Free State with the sun in my face. Seriously, in my face. Look at how overexposed this video is. Great, fantastic weather. It didn't feel like it was that hot outside. I was inside for the vast majority of the day, of course, as we all were, at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. And it's a great little place in there, nice, open, as you can see from here, a lot of places to walk around and look at stuff, and a great variety of vendors and creators. And there's so many people there that I don't really get a chance to talk to that often. I don't really hang out with a bunch of artists in general on my day-to-day sort of thing. I wish I did. And that's something that there are moments when I really miss that from my days in college because you go to school, and at least for me, it was a situation where a lot of these people were people I'd see in classes and stuff, and you get to see your artwork evolve alongside with them or change or however, and you influence each other. Well, as I've gotten older, that's something that's been, remiss in my career. So when I do get a chance to go out and see this sort of thing, it just instills this huge, like, I don't know, I just end up feeling a lot better afterward. Not because of the fact that, I can say, oh, everything I've done is perfect or fantastic. That's not the point. It's seeing everybody else create stuff and then seeing it there and going, man, okay, now I'm starting to have ideas. Now I want to go home and draw. Now I want to go home and create content of all different kinds and shapes and sizes. And sometimes it's also a good time to be able to just hear each other out. Like I was totally lucky. I lucked out and sat next to Christopher Harris. Now, if you're not following that dude, I'll put some links down below as soon as I find them. Phenomenal illustrator and just killer stuff. In fact, we did some trading and some stuff like that, and I don't know how good this is going to show up on camera, but I got some really good stuff from him. Just amazing stuff. I got 3 reproductions out of this, and this one is my absolute favorite right here. This is like ice cold, just awesome. And this one here too, just killer, just amazing work. The color, the inking, everything. And it's nice to be able to sit next to any artist and then kind of, ask questions about what they do, how they do things, what the background was. And I didn't realize how much I actually had in common with them, which was great because that's always a nice path of discovery to go down. And when he was relating the fact about you know ancient gods and mythologies and pantheons and his interest in certain things, that was just right up my alley. I mean, that's a lot of what I've even put into Ardor, and I've been working on and researching and stuff. And I'm not even as far along as what he has done so excellently. And it's been amazing over the years that I've known him and seen his work, how it's dynamically grown. And I wish, that's the only thing I can say is that sometimes when I'm sitting there at the table, there were enough people there that, I made some sales, and it wasn't a bad show. And I got a chance to talk to everybody that came by, and, you get to hear their stories about what they're into and that sort of thing. Discovered some new anime that I didn't know about. And, I wish that I had more time to get away from my table. But I also know that there's a lot of things that I promised myself during the show I was going to do. I did a little bit of writing, and I also ended up working on some sketch cards, which I'll post better pictures of this on my website later. But I was really pleased with these. I did. See, that's going to take me forever to get my fingers on these things. But I did a Judge Death, and then another character kind of based in Ardor, and this one is a funny one here in the respect that this was actually based on a story when I was much younger. The first time I was actually scared out of my mind in the woods was when I'd been walking around and I thought I heard some rustling and something was following me. And I remember that the moon was out, and if not, it was extremely star-filled, the night. Because you could see in the woods, you could kind of see the trees and see light filtering through and that sort of thing. And I don't care how familiar you are with an owl, at night, everything sounds creepy. Everything. And especially when you're a kid. You're just like, and I saw this sort of shape. And it was after I got done talking to Christopher about this, I had related how there was a story that the most terrifying thing I'd seen as a child was this. And what this is was essentially an owl that was sitting in a tree. And there was the remnants of this tent that had just completely weathered away and fallen apart on this limb, and this owl was sitting right on top of it, so it looked like this weird ghostly menagerie sort of thing with these glowing eyes. And I remember distinctly, I always carry like a small flashlight with me, shining it, and in this weak little beam of light, the eyes refracting and reflecting back to light, and I booked it out of there. I was gone. And then of course another a Skeksis, which, man, tell me you guys are not just loving the new Dark Crystal stuff. That's freaking amazing. I'm like, I'm totally blown away with that. Somewhere Jim Henson is smiling like a madman. And then another random character. I don't really know what this one's going to be, but all of those are going to be for sale next year, or the next show that I do. I kind of got teased on doing another show this year. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Maybe, I don't know. Depends on if there's a table available. So what else happened? So the show was really fun and grand and all that. I do wish that I'd gotten around to talk to a few more people. There were some other creators and artists there that I didn't know. Some of them came by and spoke to me and Christopher, and that was cool meeting them through them. Again, it was one of those things where, like, if there was ever a show that I wish was multiple days, that would be one. But I understand why it's a one-day show. I get it. But it's more from the fact that maybe it's just I need to be more social and get out. Now, I will say the other thing that I ended up picking up at the show, which was freaking phenomenal. You guys are probably familiar with foul language. Brian Gordon is a hilarious guy. One of the nicest dudes I've ever met. And I immediately got respect for the guy, not only because of his work ethic and who he was, and he's a former Hallmarker, but also because of his incredible books that he puts out based on ducks. And I know that there's a whole question about, like, why ducks. He's answered that ad nauseum. I'm not going to cover it here, but I did set up where I'm going to be interviewing him in my artist series on my website. So that will be one of the questions I will work in there. Sorry, Brian. I know everyone wants to know, and you probably aren't totally tired of that question yet. So this is great. This is published through Andrews McMeel Publishing, and the book is top notch. The best part about this, we were joking around. I don't even know how this came about. But when I was getting this from him, I was like, look, I really want to see your duck character as Wolverine. This is gold. And I had just been talking about how I will usually only buy books from artists if I can get a sketch in the cover. And almost every single book I own, whether it's from Chris Seaman, Paul Bonner, Josh Cotter, any of those guys, I have sketches in the front. And I think everybody likes to do that sort of thing, but that's really my big goal, is to do this sort of thing. So yeah, I guess that's basically it for now. I just wanted to do a real quick little video about this because, man, I really did have a damn good time, and I'm glad that those that Craig puts on these shows. And Craig, if you're watching this, man, thank you so much, sincerely, for what you do. Um, I can't get past the fact that, when most shows that are larger, tend to go the route of like, hey, like, here's the big super movie star names and stuff like that, which is fine. I'm not knocking them. I'm not, sincerely. Um, Guys like me and everybody else there, for the most part, kind of get lost in the shuffle, you know, and everybody's got their following and their people that like them and stuff like that. If you're lucky to have enough of that, great. But there's plenty of people that are just trying to break out and make a living and sell some stuff that they make, and it is just so damn cool that Craig Klotz consistently provides this outlet, this showcase, this show, for us to be able to just freaking breathe and showcase our stuff in a very laid back and easygoing show, and it's just nice. And then when my friends and people that I know show up, and I get a chance to talk to them, and just hear what's been going on in their lives, or what shows they've been to, or what they've seen, or cool things they've added to their collections, or art they've gotten commissioned. That's just cool. In this sort of case, people feel a little bit more like they can come out of their shell, and they have an opportunity to be able to talk, and it's not so high pressure, and there's not like big long lines, and people are walking around and exchanging ideas, and then just talking industry stuff. And when you get a kid that wants to make a comic, get a table, do a show, what do you do? Well, in my case, I was just like, just give it a shot, man. I was like, I was in your position. The very first comic show I ever attended was a fan con. I remember I was like nervous. I was like, I really didn't know, like, because I'm not like a lot of other guys. I liked comics, I did that sort of thing, but I didn't go to my first show until a few years ago. And it's been what now, about 8-9 years ago. But that was my very first comic show, was a fan con, and I still remember the hotel. I still remember the first vendor I actually spoke to was Chris Jackson. He had his little table set up with comics, and it was just a small room, and like there was like, I think, a vendor in the center that may have been Craig, and then there were people all the way around it. And that was the very first time that I'd ever gone to a show. I didn't really know what to expect. I picked up some comics, got a few little bits of swag, and that was it. And it was really cool. And for anyone that goes to a show like that, I'm glad that there's still a show that does this, a show that's growing and that is becoming something really cool and continually evolves. And so many people that do attend are like, I'm glad that this show happens, because I have anxiety, I can't go to the big ones, or I just this is something where I know that if I'm spending money, it's going toward the artists, and it's going toward supporting small press efforts or whatever, and that's beyond freaking cool. So anyway, I have yammered on enough for tonight. If you haven't gone to one of Craig's shows, I implore you, go. Just give it a shot. He does them. He does the fan cons a lot. Freestate is a yearly. Go to the show. You'll have fun. If you're into comics and toys and just wanting to talk to creatives, you'll have a blast. It'll be fun. It's a great family sort of oriented event, and it's a rarity today to see a show that is that cool and done that way. It's just awesome. So again, thank you so much for watching this, and I'm gonna hurry up and get this uploaded. And I sincerely appreciate everyone that did stop by the show and talk to me and everything else like that. And again, Brian Gordon, thank you so much for the book and the awesome sketch. And Christopher Harris, thank you so much for the freaking art, man, and for being so cool of a neighbor and just sitting there and chatting and talking about everything under the sun. That was awesome. And to everybody else whose names I'm forgetting and not dropping right now, it was wonderful to see all of you. It was just I am literally on cloud nine. I'm feeling very, very, very good, and that's a wonderful freaking feeling to be in right now, because sometimes in life we don't see all the good things that we have in life, and then sometimes it takes something like that to remind us, things may be bad, things may be kind of low, but there's some really good things in life, and sometimes it's just a little bit of interaction with the right people. So, with that said, you guys have a wonderful night. I will be back with another update, and I will have the actual official blog update of the show with the photography and everything else like that put in there, my complete write-up and thoughts on it for you guys to read and that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks again. Talk to you guys later.